Another Whipsaw Wednesday with a pretty active session today in ES, in SPY. Essentially what we were looking at this morning, slight gap down. Looking at the reaction versus the 43.80 level. Wanted to see if buyers could step in versus that zone. Now we did have a couple of opening drive attempts. We did have price holding that overnight low, that 43.80 zone near the open. Once we kind of get this move, a test of the prior day volume point of control in ES, pretty much just is a cascade from there. Some bounces versus prior day low, nothing that really materializes. Ultimately resolves lower. You do have this volatile move, this volatile bounce on the back of the bond auction. From there, just respecting VWAP for the rest of the afternoon. Some phenomenal 2-hour trader framework setups right in here, and then more rejections of the prior day low. Posted levels working quite nicely today. The thing is despite this volatility, despite this whipsaw, the question becomes, where are we? What has actually happened within price? And so when we get into the near term, still here. Still pretty much here. You can see the Fibonacci that I've got up on the screen right now. That is drawn from the NFP low Friday, October 6th, up into what is now the range high. And essentially what we want to see tomorrow morning is whether or not buyers can continue to defend this 43.35 level. Kind of there right now, coming into the afternoon. But this has been a key level from weeks prior. 43.35 zone had that initial bounce in late September, starts to act as resistance, right? Not now kind of acting as an area of support. And the other interesting thing about this level is it does loosely correlate with the 50% retracement mark from the 3-day rally that started with NFP. So you have a 3-day rally here. 50% retracement is 43.37. Couple points off of 43.35. That's basically just a rounding thing. Not really anything of significance there. So we'll be looking at the 43.35. Now, if that does fail, that'll pretty much trigger a near-term range breakdown. I'll be looking at how the 43.20 is treated. That was the low from Monday, October 9th. That is, has some structural importance there. And then we're talking about down into 4,300 again, right? Potentially 42.90. So 43.35 coming into tomorrow, going to be definitely an important area of support for buyers to defend. As a key watch. Now, a lot of this is going to depend on the overnight action, especially with Netflix earnings, Tesla earnings after the bell today. These are mega cap stocks, right? They are market moving stocks, undeniably. And so depending on how they're reporting will have a large impact on how ES trades. So we'll be keeping an eye on that for sure. The main thing you need to kind of understand here is this is still an area of near-term support. Price is still within the near-term range. We did have some good two-way trading today, absolutely. It's just a good reminder of the importance of staying nimble, right? When you have those 10, 20, 30-point swings in ES intraday on multiple occasions, it's not really a play that you want to be holding, right? Despite the index closing on lows, at least me personally. It's not a trade I want to be holding. I'd rather be rotating in and out of that play. So some things to keep in mind there. It kind of is a byproduct of the environment that we are in right now, that whipsaw. As far as individual names, we're looking at MS. We did have this on the back burner watch today. The call was to watch for a break of this near-term range, right? It did break down and gives a clean trend move. So we'll be looking for the second day trade there tomorrow in MS. We do have MU. I noted this one as relative strength today. Volume's pretty light, but anytime we have a market that is down, I want to pay attention to any stocks that are up. Today that was MU. The pattern definitely, it's a range, but we have a series of higher lows here, right? Bit of resistance up through here, up through 71. This is getting tighter within an apex, and so it should resolve fairly soon. This kind of gives us a clue, that bit of RS today. Did also have RIVN looking at the gap fill here. We talked about this one in weeks prior, a week or two ago, whenever this volume came in. Looking for a potential breakdown here of the 17.8 level to fill this daily gap. That's a pretty straightforward setup. And then UAL was on the list today. Looks like it's just shy of our PT2. Ended up being a phenomenal intraday trade. We were looking at short below 37.7 to test 37 to test 36, pretty much into PT2 here. So this is clean. I love to see this kind of action where you have a sell in the morning, afternoon, kind of midday base, and then resolves lower. You get your next trend move there. That's pretty textbook action, if you ask me. So UAL, point is we're looking at the second day trade for tomorrow, going for our PT3 and maybe even a little further, depending on how it opens up. Of course, we have the Netflix on watch post earnings. This will absolutely be in play. Whether or not we have a setup in it, that is yet to be seen. Essentially, currently trading kind of near this prior breakout point around 350. 350 will be a psychological level on this Netflix. Currently trades 345. I'm not sure what the implied move on this is on Netflix. I did not check. But we do have the daily volume point of control down here at 320 as a reference point. And we do also have 375, the 200 MA as a reference point. No real interest at the 200 MA in this stock. So you can see the trend that it did have here. If you were to draw a trend line, you can see that trend pretty much broke a few weeks ago, right? As far as the rate of change, trend line is just going to show you a rate of change, when the actual trend broke is going to be somewhere through here, right? When you get a change of character. So it's kind of in no man's land here, in my opinion. We'll see where it resolves post earnings. Tesla, this one looks a little better as far as a post earnings setup, simply because it is currently in that range. I expect that earnings will give it the catalyst that it needs to break from essentially this consolidation. Right? Series of lower highs, series of higher lows. If you zoom in here, you could see your volume point of control here at 257. So we're just looking to see which way will it resolve. As a reminder, do not gamble through earnings. Never worth it. It's never worth it, regardless of what you read online from some anonymous account. It's never worth it. Even if you get the direction correct with the options, you can still get burned from theta decay. So just a note on gambling through earnings. It is an absolute gamble, and your odds are actually worse than 50-50, because you need to have more than the direction correct. You need to have the direction and the size of the move correct. It looks like Netflix, Misha saying it was at 27%, 27 point implied move priced in. So yeah, that puts us pretty much down into 320. So if 320 is in play, that'll definitely be a level of interest. A lot of volume through here, right? That's on the downside. On the upside, pretty close up into the 200 MA there. So we'll be looking at that. 2 decent reference points to work with on Netflix. Of course, it could just be a muted move, right? Could be a nothing burger. So that's pretty much it as far as the individual names. Primarily, as usual lately, going to be looking at the index. NQ, let's take a look here. Still kind of in this few days of range trading, very similar to ES coming into 15K. So on NQ, 15K remains the key watch. That is going to be an area of potential support. Bulls will be looking to defend that level if it fails. Right, we're talking about potentially 14,800, 14,600. So Netflix, of course, is going to have a big impact on NQ, bigger than ES, simply because NQ is tech heavy. So that's the list. Individual names. We're looking at MS, MU, RIVN, UAL, Netflix, and Tesla. And then ES, main level of interest is the 43.35 near-term support and our Fibonacci 50% retracement level. So that's that. Any questions? Anything that I missed? All good. Makes sense. Alrighty. Looking good. Well, it looks like I'll see most of you guys that are in the chat currently in the TMG here in about 20 minutes. Take care, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Later.